Everyone knows his famous niece, Chrissy, but Uncle Chuck was no slouch on the court himself.
Chuck had a beautiful tennis game, had some of the greatest strokes you've ever seen, and enjoyed playing and enjoyed talking tennis. I don't think I've ever met anybody who enjoyed the robust venue of talking tennis, but Chuck was that.
Well, he had a phenomenal career as a senior player. I think one of the things that was most interesting about Dad's senior career is he went for 15 years and was never ranked outside the top 5 in the country.
Chuck Evert was Mr. Tennis in Columbus, Georgia for 5 decades as a promoter, player, teacher, and historian. He finished in the top 10 7 times nationally as a senior player. His highest finish was number 2 in 1980 in the 60s age group. But it was what he did off the court that paved the road to a Hall of Fame induction.
He was really a prominent, in Columbus, a prominent supporter of tennis there. I mean, Columbus it was a hotbed of tennis outside of Atlanta. Next to Atlanta it was probably, and Chuck Evert was very instrumental.
Even to this day, there's the Evert Cup in Columbus that's played on an annual basis in honor of Chuck. And he's just one of those people that gives stature to a town and to a city and to a state.
As a young man, he brought Jack Kramer in the Pro Tour to Columbus. From there, every tournament, pro-am, or hit and giggle that was played anywhere near Columbus had Chuck Evert's fingerprints on it.
In so many ways, he tried to deliver his passion for tennis to the city of Columbus.
I recall playing the Southeastern Juniors in Columbus, Georgia back in the mid-60s. And at that time, Columbus was one of the great tennis cities in the South and was on the junior circuit and also had a terrific senior tournament every year. So Columbus has been a very important city in tennis in Georgia for as long as I can remember, and has certainly been a city dominated by clay court play. And Chuck Evert was one of the key people in Columbus that supported the game, and he and his wife Ruth were very good to supporting tennis in the city of Columbus.
He was so very knowledgeable about not only the rules, the bylaws, the tennis associations. He gave great credibility to Georgia and Georgia Tennis Foundation and the Georgia Tennis Association through his statue in the United States Tennis Association and the Southern Tennis Association. In fact, many people at the USTA level would come to him for points of emphasis on the legal aspects of tennis, the bylaws, what needs to be done, and Chuck was just a tremendous person that way.
Throughout the Southeast, he promoted tournaments, he assisted through a number of different ways. He and my mother were very instrumental in starting the Volvo tennis leagues in Columbus and in Georgia generally. He brought a Virginia Slims tournament to Columbus, Georgia. So we had a professional women's tournament there for a little while. And all of those things were just as a result of his passion for the game and his efforts to try to grow the game.
Not the most famous Everett in the world of tennis, but few gave more back to the game than Columbus, Georgia's Mr. Tennis. Charles Chuck Evert is a worthy member of the Georgia Tennis Hall of Fame.